Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. We have a 2005 Peugeot 307 1.4 16 valve 4-cylinder. Yeah, I know it's big, with an airbag light on. Now let's just have a look at the light. As we can see, we have an airbag light on. I have plugged it in to the old scanner and we have a P1801 permanent fault level of driver's module trigger 1 open circuit. So that would suggest maybe a broken wire or something along them lines. Oh, okay, well that's maybe a bit of a clue. The horn's not working. Someone's maybe been here before. This could be maybe quite a simple fix, in the sense of I was going to take the airbag off anyway, but with the horn not working, it's a possibility someone's maybe been in here before and maybe there's a broken wire, so it's just a case of replacing the wire. It might be obvious. It means I don't really have to test too much stuff. I need to take the airbag off just to see anyway, but that's maybe a good thing, well, in the sense of it might be a bit easier fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip off the airbag. Essentially the way you do it, there's two little holes, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I can't show you until I actually get it out, but the best thing to do is turn the steering wheel on its side essentially, get a flat bladed screwdriver, slot it in the hole, and what you're trying to do, obviously behind, you're looking for like a metal bar, and you push down on the metal bar and it flips out. Now I'm not going to be able to film this because it's just going to be awkward, but once I get the airbag out I will show you what I mean, and once you feel the holes yourself it will make a lot more sense. So once I get the airbag out I'll show you exactly what I mean. Right, I'm going to try and film it. I've got one side out, as you can see, it's popped out. You'll know once you've got it on because it kind of gives way. You'll feel you're on some sort of clip and you can push it down really quite easy. You don't want to be putting this screwdriver in and fiddling about all the place and breaking everything. It can be awkward to find it, but once you've got it you'll know, because at the minute now I'm on something solid, I can't push down. Now there we go, I'm on the clip there now, so all I got to do is pull this out. There we go, sorted. Now I'm hoping for a broken wire. I'm hoping it's going to be someone's been in here, maybe done something, I don't know, maybe changed something and either broken the wire, or I don't know, because the horn's not working, maybe it's two completely separate issues, I don't know. I'm just hoping it is a broken wire because it's a lot easier. And no, it isn't. There's nothing that looks obvious to be a broken wire in here, unfortunately. Right. I'll get the camera in a bit closer in a second so you can see what I mean. Right, just want to show you inside the airbag now and what I was talking about, how to disconnect it. We have our screwdriver here and this is one of the holes here, and as you can see our screwdriver is coming down, and that's all it does. Oh, so that's the problem, you can miss it very easy, and all it does is push down that little spring, and as you can see you can miss it very easy, but that's all it does. It pushes down that little spring and it releases the airbag on both sides. Now as regards disconnecting the airbag, people say, oh, disconnect the battery, leave it for 5 minutes, let the capacitors discharge and all this. You don't need to do it. An airbag will only go off with 12 volts. If you don't put 12 volts to it, this airbag will not go off. And as regards taking these pins out here, very simple. You just lift up with a screwdriver or anything like that. That will lift up the pins, and then you just pop out the actual connection. I'm not going to do that yet because I want to do a few more tests. But I'm telling you now, once you've done that, there's actually 2 pins in there and they actually lock off. You cannot set this off. I'm going to get people, yes, I can do this. No, the battery's still connected. I could disconnect that airbag with no problems whatsoever. So stop wincing when you're looking at the camera because it's not going to go off. Anyway, I was just hoping, normally I wouldn't have took the airbag off straight away. It was just because with the horn not working, I was hoping maybe someone had done something in here and been in here and maybe broke something. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So what I'm going to do is, I've taken off the actual cowling underneath the steering wheel. And we can see, this is, we've got two wires either side. I'll get a bit closer in a second. These are our airbag trigger 1 and trigger 2 essentially. And then we have like a comms unit and clock spring inside here, which could, as you turn the wheel, it still essentially powers everything. So as you turn the wheel, you've got constant current. And then we've got the airbag. So we could have a problem with the airbag. We could have a problem with this clock spring and comms unit. Or we could have a problem with the actual wiring. Now, what I'm going to do is, as you turn the ignition on, the airbag light comes on, goes off, the car does its checks, and the airbag light comes back on again. So it won't turn off. So what I'm going to do, before I go any further with the actual taking out of the airbag, I just want to check my wiring harness down here. I can check this comms unit very, very easy with a special little tool. This is just a little tool, very, very simple. Essentially, all that is a 2.5 ohm resistor. Now, this is a laser airbag setting tool or testing tool, I can't remember, but you'll see it anyway. But you can make these very, very easy. All it is, inside that there is a 2.5 ohm resistor. Because that's what an airbag is. An airbag is essentially a big resistor. And if the resistance goes in the airbag or it goes in something, then the system can't do its checks, open circuit, whatever the case may be. So what I'm going to do, very, very simple, I'm going to try and film this. If I can, I might have to I have someone here, so I might just get him to give me a hand just so you can see what I'm doing. But like I said, don't be worried about your airbag. I can disconnect that with the battery still on, and I am not going to set that off. I'm not going to do any damage to it. I might set another fault on the car, but I'm not going to set the airbag off. What I want to do with this resistor is I want to test these two, because it did say trigger 1 open. Now, I'm not sure which one is trigger 1 on here. Trigger 1 and trigger 2. I'm not sure which one, but we don't need to really know that at the minute with this little gadget. So, let's get testing. Right, hopefully you can see this now. This is inside here is our clock spring. You can just see it with my fingers. And this is a control module or some sort of comms module anyway. And everything is plugged into it. These are the wires I was telling you about. This is one airbag trigger, and this is the other airbag trigger. Now, this could be number 1 and number 2, or number 1, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. So all I'm going to do is take this off. Again, I don't have to worry about setting anything off. I'm leaving everything connected, so the airbag is still connected, so the circuit is still complete. And all I'm going to do with this, if I can film this, a bit awkward. If you can see this, can you see? Right, where are we? This is really awkward. I'm just going to shove these 2 pins inside here to complete my circuit. That's all I've done, and I'm going to hold them in, if you can see that. So that's all I've done. So all I've done, as you can see, I'm just holding that in. I'm going to get someone to hold the camera for me in a minute. You just hold the camera for me, but leave it up pointing to the dash.
What are you trying?
You see that?
Trying to see the dash.
See the dash in the middle bit here? Can you see?
Yep.
You see the airbag light? Right, so the airbag light is off after a few seconds, and now it's back on again. So we know it's not that circuit. So I'm just going to disconnect this, plug this back in. You see that?
Yep.
Do the same with this side. Unclip this side. You see that clip?
Yep.
Put my little gadget in there again, just like that. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. Turn on the car, put it up to the dash. You see the dash? Yeah? You see the dash?
Yep.
Airbag light is on. Airbag light goes off. And does it come back on? Does it come back on? Hey! Sorted. There we go. the airbag light is now fixed. I could start this car, and just to prove it, as we can see, starting the car, the airbag light stays off. If you just come down to the connection here, if I just pull out the connection, so all I'm going to do is pull out the connection and watch the airbag light come back on. And there we go, airbag light's back on. Sorted. Right, so what I want to do, we essentially know the wiring harness from the connections down to the ECU or to wherever they happen to go is okay. We have a problem from this module up. Now, do we have a problem with the module? Do we have the problem with the wires? Do we have a problem with the airbag? Well, that's what we're going to find out. What I'm going to do first is a continuity test. So I'm going to take the airbag off and do a continuity test from here up to the airbag. If we get continuity on both sides all the way up to the airbag, well, then it's the airbag. It's as simple as that. There's no ifs, buts or maybes. It's the airbag. If we haven't got continuity on, which side was it? This side, on the trigger number 1, which we now know is this side, then we know we've got a problem with that module. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the airbag off. It's not going to do anything. So I'm just going to pull the pin out. What happens is, like I said, once you start disconnecting these, there's a little pin that shorts it out, so you can't set it off. My ignition's off, but the battery's still in. And if it does go off, it's going to make a great YouTube video, but it won't go off. There's no way, there's just no way it's going to go off. So we've got a blue pin and we got a green pin. And I'm just going to mark that the blue pin, well, actually you can't go wrong, sorry. If you look at the airbag, you'll see the blue, there's a blue plastic around that, and on this one it's green, so you can't go wrong. That's now shorted itself out. There's a little clip in there. It can't go off. You're not going to do anything to that. Right. If we turn the ignition on now, obviously we can't set the airbag off because it's not here. We will set another fault on the computer, but I'm not worried about that yet. My test, I don't need to turn the ignition on, and I'm hoping. Even better. The cables I took out, they're color coded. So this is blue, this is blue, this is green, that one is green. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to test the green one, even though we know the green one's good, but I'm going to test the green one for continuity to make sure we've got continuity coming all the way up. Because if we do, well, we know the green one's okay. If we have continuity on the, if we do have continuity on the blue one coming all the way up, well, it has to be the airbag, because the power's coming all the way up and the airbag's not allowing it to do whatever it's doing. If we don't get continuity coming up to here, well, then we know it's the communication or the comms module, whatever Peugeot want to call it, because we know our circuit is okay from here down because we've tested that. So what I'm going to do is, and what you have to be careful of is, these again, because it's an airbag, and believe me, taking off an airbag is safe. It's not as bad as people think. Every time you disconnect something, so every time I disconnect that wire there's a little bar that goes across that shorts the circuit, so you cannot allow the voltage to come through. This has to be plugged in. If it's not plugged in, even if you put 12 volts to the pins, the airbag won't come out. Now, if it's plugged in and you put 12 volts to the pin, yes, you can have an airbag in your face, but then you're a tit. Okay? You're a tit. Unless you're doing it on purpose, and then that'd be quite funny. But believe me, you do not want to be this close to an airbag goes, because you'll have no neck left. So, all the comments are going to get, nah, 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 nah. It's not going to make any difference, okay? Comment away. So, this continuity test is going to tell me what I need to replace. I don't have any parts for this yet, so I'm going to have to figure out what's wrong. I'm going to have to tell the customer, and then we're going to have to order the parts. And as regards parts like this, going new is very, 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 very expensive, I would imagine. Second hand is most probably going to be the way to go. Now, yeah, second hand modules. It's a 2005 car. I'll price up the genuine module, but I have a feeling it's going to be redonkulous. So I'd say for this particular one, we'll be going second hand. I would be guessing. That has its problems, but everything has its problems. So hey ho. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these plugged in, because it means then I'm not going to have my problem with the little bar going across. And I'm just going to use my, wherever it's gone, my multimeter. I'm going to back probe the blue pin. Well, I'll do the green pin first, just for shits and giggles. I'll do the green pin first, because we know the green pin is good. You're going to hear it beep. That's what we need, continuity. So when I put it, it's going beep. So we know the continuity. And then we're hoping, well, I was not say hoping, the easiest fix would be the airbag, because it just means if we've got continuity, I don't have to take the steering wheel off. I don't have to disconnect all these stupid things. The easier option is the airbag. So if we've got continuity, just bang an airbag in, bang, sorted, job done. If it's the clock spring, then that's a harder job. But we're going to find out in a minute. All right, sorted geezer. We can also do a test on the actual airbag itself to be 100,000,000% sure. But we might not need to. So what I'm going to do is use these back pins or back probes. Now that was the customer that owns this, and I've essentially told him it looks like he's going to have a problem with his clock spring / comms module or the airbag. And I don't think he's going to be fixing it. I don't know. So I don't know how this video is going to end. We will know shortly what is wrong, but I don't know if he's going to want me to actually repair it, which is a shame, because it means the video doesn't really get completed properly. And I know I'm going to get people, oh, you're wrong, it's not what you said, and you know, all that usual shit. But we're going to keep testing. So I have the connection back pinned or back probe there. I'm just going to back probe this, and I'm just going to test for continuity. Very simple. This should work, because this is the one that is working. So we know we haven't got a problem with this particular side. It's all nicely color coded, which was nice of Peugeot. Turn it on, continuity. So what happens is now, once you have continuity, hope you'll be able to hear this. It beeps. So, I mean, it really is as simple as that. So I'm just going to clip this, the one on the bottom, clip it the one on the top. Might have the wrong pin. There we go. You can hear that clear as day. Then I'm going to back probe it in pin number 1, because that's marked. Move this pin up, and as you can hear, we have continuity. That is, as you can see, so simple. We now know, we knew that anyway, but that circuit all the way in, all the way out is absolutely 100% fine. And we know it's fine because when we tested it down below, we know the circuit's fine afterwards. So, I mean, that is literally how simple it is. Someone else has come in. We'll be back shortly. Right, we're back. What I am hoping, just for easiness sake, I am hoping this circuit tests okay, because it means I can just get an airbag if he wants to buy it and just shove it on. And it's going to be the cheapest option, in the sense of, I think second-hand, the module and the airbag is going to be more or less the same price, but the airbag is a lot simpler to fix or to fit. Means I don't have, because what happens sometimes, and most people don't know this, when you take out the clock spring, you're supposed to basically either put tape, some sort of tape over it to stop it from turning, because what happens is it's only designed to turn a number of ways each way, and if you buy it from a scrapyard and someone's turned it, you fit it, and you can turn your wheel and you can snap it. So it's not difficult. It's only one bolt and a couple of clips. It's not the end of the world, but it's just more hassle. Where hopefully we don't have to do that, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to back probe pin number 1 at the top, because we now know that's number 1, and that should correspond to number 1 on our blue wire. So we should hear a beep, well, or not. No beep. Just in case I got it wrong, let's put it down to number 2. No, we've nothing. We're just an open circuit essentially. We've absolutely nothing there. So it is our clock spring module thing, comms module. Yeah, no beep, no nothing. I'm just double checking, but yeah, we're it is that. Now I don't know how this video is going to go. If you see more at the end of this, you know I'm going to be repairing it, but if not, you know I'm not going to be repairing it. It is a shame, because it's just nice to have an end of the video, but it is that clock spring. That's the problem. That comms module slash clock spring, that is our problem. 100%, that is our problem. Our airbag is fine. So yeah, I won't know for a few days what the story is with this. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this back together, but I'm going to do a separate video on how to test an airbag. Very simple, but I just think it'd be better on a separate video. It'll only be a few minutes long, and it'll kind of leave this video to this particular problem. So this is all going to go back together. I don't know if it's going to be fixed yet. We'll have to wait and see. Right, we are back, and we have our second-hand clock spring slash comm unit, whatever you want to call it. And I've done the continuity test, so we know this one is good. So yeah, best way on this particular one was to buy it second-hand, because new, just ridiculous. Anyway, so there's a few things you need to be aware of when you do in one of these. This particular one is a DAV model, which is on the back, which you might not be able to see it, but it's DAV. There's a DAV and there's a Delphi for this particular car. So you need to make sure you get the right one. Not only that, we have 5 pins or 5 sockets in the back. I think there's some with 4, there's some with 3, they're all sorts. So you need to know, or you need to make sure you get the right one, because otherwise it won't work. The other thing you have to be careful of is the actual clock spring here. Now, when you take it off, I would always put tape over here to stop it from moving, but I don't know who is taking this off, if the wheel was turned or anything. So what I'm going to have to do, just to be 100% certain, is I'm going to have to spin this, if I can. It seems to be right. Spin this to one side until it stops spinning. So essentially the wheel is turned all the way. Then I'm going to have to spin it all the way to the other side, count how many revolutions it is. So let's say it's 4. Well, then I'll turn it 2 full revolutions and it'll be in the middle, and it'll be 2. Right, I'm not sure, but this just seems to be spinning too freely. It doesn't seem to be locking. Or has it just done it there? Right, let's try it now. Now it's completely locked with a spring. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for the minute. We need to get this off anyway. Right, so before you really do anything, you need to make sure your steering wheel is nice and straight. So in other words, your wheels are straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to turn the ignition on, because I do need to pop out the airbag. So I'm only going to turn it a little bit. I'm going to put my screwdriver back in. Screwdriver's too big. Get a smaller screwdriver. Feel for the bar. There we go, bars down. Pull out the airbag. Simple. Turn it again. Feel for the hole. Feel for the bar. There we go. Now, just want to make sure the wheel is straight. My steering wheel is straight and my wheels are straight. That's what I want to... Right. Now, I can knock the car off. And I just know I'm going to get comments, even though these things, they are safe. Once you disconnect them, the pins earth themselves. They are so safe, but I'm going to... Just, no matter what you do. But there is one thing I need to show you. I'm going to see if you can hear this when I actually disconnect this. Now I'm just going to pull the top off first and I disconnect it now. You ready? Did you hear that? That's what can happen sometimes. Anyway, right. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Just pull the tab off, pull the pin out, and there we go. Pull the earth out. One airbag off. Completely and utterly safe. Now, what I do have to do is also take off this clip. Doesn't want to come off. There we go. Now, so we've got them wires disconnected. We've got everything disconnected. So what I need to do is actually take off this steering wheel. And in the middle of it is a big torque. I think it's a T50. I'll just get my torques and we'll see which one it is. So, T50 it is. And what you will need to do is to take this off really without the wheel moving. It can be awkward. You can kind of sometimes hold it with your legs. There we go. If it does move, you can always move the wheel back. It's not the end of the world, but you just want to take the wheel off when the wheels are straight, because otherwise you'll be driving down the road and the wheel's going to be at an angle and you're not going to really be able to move it with the tracking. It's not going to be able to do it enough. So, T50. Careful of the wires. Bit of Loctite on it, so we'll put a bit of Loctite back. I think I'm going to have to take off that earth strap as well. Maybe not, I can't remember. This should now theoretically come off. Oh, and I've opened the glove box. That's a good feature with these Peugeots. You hit the steering wheel like that and the glove box opens. It's an optional extra, but it's one to have. There we go. Right, one steering wheel off. Steering wheel's on splines, as most of them are, but there we go. One steering wheel is off. Now, this one has steering wheel radio controls. If you've got a switch on this side, that's your cruise control. So again, if you've got cruise control, you want to make sure you get the one with cruise control, because otherwise you won't have cruise control again. So I would now normally tape this to that so it doesn't move, but maybe this one has a special one in where it doesn't matter where it is. Let me just spin this. I think it does, to be honest. That is spinning. Oh no, now it's getting tight there. Okay. Right, because the problem is now R1 isn't getting tight, so I'm wondering, has someone broke it? So I'm just going to spin this, see if it gets tight the other side. Hasn't yet. Again, it's not getting tight. So, maybe this one doesn't matter. I know some of them do, but I've always just marked them. Never really had a problem after that. But this one is just spinning, spinning, and spinning. So, don't know. I'm going to have to be careful. I'll check it before I'm not just going to bang everything on. I will kind of check it properly. What I want to do now is disconnect all the clips. Now there should be a bolt, some sort of bolt if I remember correctly, or is it just clips? Let's have a look at this one. With 2 clips, maybe it's just clips. This is always a good thing about having another one in front of you. If you've never done one before, you can kind of see what's going on or what isn't going on. There's 2 clips there, but I thought there was a bolt, but maybe not. They're all different. That's all our wires taken off. Again, you can't really go wrong because they're all colour coded, so you can't really put them in the wrong place. These ones you just can't really mess up, so I wouldn't worry about that side of things. So I could have sworn there was a... I knew there was. You can't see it, but around here at the back is almost like a jubilee clip of sorts, and there's a 10mm bolt kind of wraps around, as well as these 2 little clips. So I'm not going to be able to show you that, but you'll see as clear as day once you're doing it yourself. There's the bolt, 10mm. Put that down so you don't lose it. Now it should just be 2 little clips. Get them in there with a screwdriver. And there we go. The unit is off. We did get that with the new one, so I'm going to put the one we got on with it, just in case there's some sort of difference. This was the clip. Very simple, very effective. So this can really only go on one way. The clip goes there, actually is notched out. I don't know if you can see that. It's notched out so it can only fit in one place, and it just crimps down like that. So this will just go on. Be careful you don't break the clips. Push that in, you heard the clip, and it's in. Now just put your bracket on and make sure you've got it in the right place, which it is there. And you don't want to over tighten this because you'll break everything. Now, there we go. Simple as that. Now theoretically I should be able to plug everything in and just put the airbag in situ, and the airbag light should go off. So I'm going to do that now, just for shits and giggles. Right, so they're in. Then I'm not going to put this on properly. I'm going to test that in a second. I just want to see if this is going to be okay. So just feed the wires through. Make sure I don't catch anything, just rest it there. Connect our wires together. Clippity clip, clip, clip. Colour coded wires, so you can't go wrong. If I can get this clip out, so we can see if our diagnosis was right. It's the blue one. Now this particular car should, if the fault is gone, if this fixes it, it should automatically turn off the light. Now some cars you might need to reset the computer before it will kind of think everything is okay, but I'm pretty certain that this car will, if this is working properly, or if we've got the right, obviously, diagnosis, which I know we have, but should automatically turn the light off. Right. Do I have the key? I do. Can you see the dash? Right. Let's see. But key in ignition, lad. Aha! Bingo was his name! Oh, airbag light's gone off. Sorted. Should be able to start this. Bingo! Bingo, bingo, bingo! Now I'm so glad he actually did decide to fix it, because I know if I put up the video with me just saying it was that was gone, you're just going, oh, you're wrong, you didn't take blah blah, you didn't do that. Just, I knew it was just going to be an absolute nightmare. So I'm glad that he did choose to fix it. It just stops the bell ends commenting, even though you're still going to get bell ends that comment, but it'll just stop some of them at least. Right, so now what I want to do is I just want to check that we're not going to break anything once the steering wheel starts turning. Right, so we can only have no more than 3 full, well, let's say 4 revolutions each side, which is way too much. But if we can get this to go 4 revolutions each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to check the other side. Just check it with the indicator on. So see if it, there we go, it's knocked off the indicator, which is good. That's 1, 2, yeah, so it's knocked off the indicator, which is good. 3, 4. Now the most probably is a center to that, but I've turned it full, 4 full revolutions in each way, which the steering doesn't do that many. It's not 8 turns lock to lock. So I know we're going to be fine as regards that, and it's knocked off the indicator that side as well. So I know once you put the indicator off, it's going to self knock it off. It's not going to break anything internally, so I'm happy about that. I now know I can stick on the steering wheel and I'm not going to have a problem as regards that. Steering wheel is straight, but what I will do, I'll just test it. I'm going to put some Loctite on this, but I just want to screw this down. Well, actually I don't need to screw it down yet. I can test it without, no, maybe I do, just in case. I just want to make sure it's going to turn lock to lock without a problem. So the airbag light's going to come back on because there's no airbag, but we're not worried about that. Airbag light's back on, I wonder why. Anyway, not worried about that. What I am worried about is making sure this is going to go lock to lock, and I'm going to listen very closely. Right, that's fully locked one side. It's fully locked the other side. No horrible noises in the clock spring making noises or anything like that. Just check that it will self-cancel the indicator. There we go, self-cancels it that way. Self-cancels it that way. We have lights. Yeah. We have wipers, because again you have to check all this because it's all in the same unit. So that's it. What I'm going to do now is just straighten up the wheel while the wheels are straight. Just put a bit of Loctite on there and tighten that up, and we're good. You get one of your mates to hold the wheel, or you tighten it, or you just do it like I did, taking it off, grabbing the wheel like that, and just essentially turning your ratchet. It's going to be as simple as that. So that's it. So tighten that up to factory specs. Sorted. Just make sure, I always like to give the wheel just a bit of a thing, make sure it's okay, make sure nothing is wrong. Just double check everything again. No harm. There we go. So that's okay. Just be careful of your clock spring though, because I know some of them do only have a certain... This one seems to turn a long time in either direction. But just be aware of that. If you're ever taking one of them off, I always just put some tape on, and then you can just put it back in exactly the same place. When you get it from a scrapyard or somewhere like that, you don't know if it's been turned or anything like that. But that is the easiest way of testing it. I'll always test it by hand first, like I showed you. Don't just put the wheel on and test it, because the wheel can actually just break it. I was just listening just to make sure, but I knew I had 4 revolutions in each direction, so I knew I was safe. All the lights work. Well, we'll see about the airbag, even though we know the airbag was okay, because we've already tested that. But just going to put this back kind of for the last time. Make sure the wires are in the right place, because you don't want to get them trapped by anything. That's in. The horn is working. I was going to look at that, but I don't need to now. So I'm wondering, in that unit 2, that must have been a problem with the horn, because the wires go through this and the horn wasn't working. I was going to do a separate video on what to look for when the horn isn't working, because the contacts in here or in the steering wheels do give problems, but there must have been something inside there as well. So I'll have to do another video when one comes along, but horn's working. So there you go. Yeah. I keep forgetting, I have to take off these. Take off the clips. Put everything back on. So we've solved 2 problems with that unit. Like I said, some people call it a clock spring. It's called a comms unit, a comms 2000, I believe. You know, everything's kind of bolted in together. So the problem is, when you're buying it from the main dealer, you're not just buying the clock spring, you're buying indicators, lights, fog lights, the radio control, the cruise control, everything. And that's why they're so stupidly expensive. If you was able just to take a certain part out and replace it, or just buy a separate part, but you can't. And that's also the downside to getting a second-hand one, because we didn't know if this was working or not. Now, I did test the continuity of the unit before I put it in, but that still doesn't mean that we didn't have a problem with the indicators. We could have had a problem with the lights. We could have had a problem with the wipers. You know, there's a lot of problems you can have internally in that, and that's the downside of getting a second-hand unit, but there's not a lot I can do about that. So that's all in. Wires are all not touching. Get this lined up, push it in. always make sure the horn is working, because sometimes on these the horn might only work on one side. That's when you kind of have a bad connection. It's working. So let's now see if the airbag light stays off. Now, ignition. Does it go off on the foot? Yeah, it does, yeah. Now, there you go. Sorted. So that's it. Another diagnosis done. We was right with the part. That's why you test everything, because I couldn't be ringing the customer now and saying, oh, by the way, you need this and you need that and you need that, because, you know, it's just not good. They're not going to come back to you. I told him he needed that particular part. We put it in. That's what it needs. Something happens further on down the line. Well, that's not my fault. It's going to go back to him. It's working. There's nothing more we can do. Just check all our lights. I'm going to take it for a quick spin up and down the road. Yeah, the back wiper's working. Them wipers are working. Sorted. Right, it's one thing I do want to check, just the radio. So yeah, that's CD, goes back onto the radio. That's going through all the searches. Yeah. So that's it, our radio controls work, which is good, so we know everything works on this. All I've got to do now is just shove on the bottom cover, which there's no point in me showing, it's just a bottom cover. But that's it. Done. So yeah, that's problem with the Peugeot sorted. So I hope it helps. Thumbs up, subscribe. All the links down below to our Facebook, Instagram, GoFundMe project, our website, our forum, everything's down below. Any questions down below, but most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.